Good evening, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Let us know if you can hear us in the comments and if everything's going. I did not press the go live button. That's a new thing for me. That is my bad. We are ready to go right at 8:30, I swear. Next week, it'll be right on point there at 8:30.
I second that.
This is Jakey Live. My name is Jake Harris.
I'm Rachel Slusky.
And we're coming from Delray Beach, Florida, representing Temple Sinai, Palm Beach County. Now, if you're not already familiar with what's going on at Temple Sinai, go ahead and check it out. Friday nights, Rabbi Aviva Bass and I, we lead a wonderful service. And even if you're not someone who is involved with Temple or hasn't been to Temple in a long time, come for the music, come for the message, come to feel a great feeling inside, very simply, a warm feeling. Would you agree, Rach?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't miss it. I'm there every Friday watching.
She can't get away from it if she tries, because it goes down right here in the studio. So today on Jakey Live, we want everybody to let us know if you can hear us okay. We finally got this audio stuff working.
Let us know. Let us know that you can hear us. Everything's working proper.
Okay. Thank God. Thanks for being with us here tonight, folks. We got a great show planned. We're celebrating the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who was a monumental figure in United States history. And many people today remember him for the I Have a Dream speech. And now this is a moving and powerful speech, one of the greatest ever given. Although the sentiments expressed in the I Have a Dream speech are not the only sentiments that Dr. King was about. In addition to equality and justice for all, he had little patience for those that would stand idly by while others were oppressed. So that's the message that we want to give to you all tonight as Jews. We cannot stand idly by as we watch people, mainly black people in America, be oppressed. So, starting off, we're thinking about music. Because at Jakey Live, you know me, you know Rachel, we're all about the music here. The first song that we're going to share with you tonight is more of an anthem. And there's our national anthem, but this one is a national anthem of black people. And this was written by James Weldon Johnson, written for Abraham Lincoln's birthday. His brother wrote the music for the poem, and Lift Every Voice, the song came together. Lyricist, composer, right in the same family. Lucky. It's likely Martin Luther King drew upon this for his I Have a Dream speech when he urges to let freedom ring. It's very meaningful poetry, and there are lines that draw on shared understandings. The liberty, which Johnson is describing, includes the rights and the protections that citizens of African descent in the United States were promised, but are yet to receive. Although written more than a generation after the enslaved emancipated themselves during the U.S. Civil War, or they were emancipated, the song spoke to a world that was rife with segregation, Jim Crow laws, legal to discriminate in America towards black people. Again, as Jews, if you ever try to go to a country club a couple decades ago, you know exactly what the sign looks like. No Jews allowed, no blacks allowed. Whites only. Now, in the song, the lyric about the dark past is an acknowledgement of the conditions that many listeners would have known in the moment of the song's composition, slavery. We describe in the Torah one of the worst events that happened to the Jews as a whole, and that was being enslaved in Egypt. We talk about it, we celebrate it, and it's the liberation on Passover. So we know that that's an aberrant thing. Now, to have slavery happen in America, the land of the free, is even more aberrant. All those years later, all that knowledge of how bad slavery was and is, and it still happened in America. Dark times, dark past. However, the hope that's present in the song is hope that's guaranteed for the future as freedom and redemption. Now, Booker T. Washington is an educator, an economist, and an industrialist, had a belief that black Americans would bring in the nation's better days ahead. And we like to echo that sentiment here at Jakey Live. Let us march on, it says. It's about the public marching, which was becoming an important protest strategy. In the early 20th century, as black communities used their numbers to put pressure on local and national politicians, using their numbers in order to change the injustice, the unequal rights, and eventually changing the law so that the law would not support discrimination. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Trip to Washington and back. Some of those images were taken, or those videos were taken from before COVID happened. So that's, if you see people without masks on in them, that's exactly why. And you actually see some with the masks on.
You gotta clarify those things. And so with that, let's go on to our next piece. The next piece that we want to raise up that speaks to civil rights it's called Abraham, Martin, and John. And this is a song that resonates in every time. It draws on our country's history repetitively, every time in which there is a social struggle. It's another type of anthem for any generation of Americans who see their greatest aspirations and their country breaking down. Where are the great leaders of the United States in our time and in every time? And for it being a traumatic year for many of us, this song may capture the feeling of loss in the air. So, in a quote from Martin Luther King, he speaks to the fact that the white moderate,
The white moderate just will not be a friend at the end of the day. And here's the transcript. First, I must confess that over the past few years, I've been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride towards freedom is not the White Citizens Council or the Ku Klux Klan, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection. That's Martin Luther King Jr. himself.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, it's much more than the I have a dream speech. There's much more thought and much more idea of radical and civil and social moves forward. So we don't only remember him for this, but we remember him as a nonviolent person who's committed to fight and uproot injustice anywhere. And he also sought to destroy systemic racism and overthrow white supremacy. Beyond his urgency for love and equality, King also spoke out against discriminatory policies, paving the way towards more economic justice, anti-war, and supported Nelson Mandela in his anti-apartheid fight in South Africa. He said, "We've got some difficult days ahead," Martin Luther King Jr. said. And he said this in an overflowing crowd in Memphis, Tennessee on April 3rd, 1968, where he went to support the sanitation workers' strike. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. Yeah. Less than 24 hours after these words, these prophetic words, King was assassinated by James Earl Ray. Yeah. So this speech, often overlooked, it reminds us that Black citizens support Black-owned businesses later in the speech and boycott those that don't acknowledge Black humanity. And he calls out to specific large companies and banks in Memphis because of their discriminatory hiring policies.
And some of this stuff kind of boiled over the summer. I mean, you heard people, if they weren't allowing people to express themselves, many would try and boycott their business. If they weren't allowed to display a certain insignia promoting Black equality, they were boycotting. Martin Luther King was calling for that his whole life. Everything about what he stood for, he was calling for that. If it was Jews, I'd say the same thing. If they're refusing service to Jews on account of that we're Jews, we should boycott them. And if they're doing it to Blacks or whatever group, we should do that to them as well, because that's how they're going to hear us. So now, thinking about those who are no longer with us, it's iconic figures.
Can you tell me? Anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? Freed a lot of people, but it seems the good die young. Turn my head, he was gone. Yeah, he was gone.
Anybody here see my old friend Martin? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good die young. Turn my head, he was gone.
Didn't you love the things they stood for?
Didn't they try to find some good for you and me?
We'll be free someday, someday soon.
It's gonna be one day.
Anybody here seen my old friend John?
Have you seen my old friend
Can you
John?
tell me where he's gone?
Oh,
Freed a lot of people,
freedom.
but it seems the good die
To abolish something is to knock it out. It's not legal anymore. And unfortunately, racism is not illegal. Racism is something that can live within any person. It's not specific to one group. It's not specific to one religion. Racism is a poison. It's a primal thing. It's a fear. It's a lack of understanding. We know plenty who don't understand the Jews. They try and keep us out of their clubs. They think about us in negative ways. They think we're cheap. They think that whatever
we rule
it is.
the world.
Whatever it may be. But we know us. And we know that while there may be some unsavory in our midst, it has nothing to do with the fact that they're Jewish, just the fact that they're people. They're good people in any group, just like there are bad people. So it's up to us. Whenever we see it, whenever we see people being mistreated, we say something. We stand up.
We stand up, we speak out. We say, we shall overcome. And not only in interpersonal and internal do we need to knock out the racist, anti-Black sentiment and belief, but also in the systems. And there's a Proverb 22, verse 6, that says, you shall not insult the deaf or place stumbling blocks before the blind. And I think that this proverb has many applications in our world, and as it applies here, you don't hinder anyone, any human being that is going through struggle.
Anti-Blackness pervades public and private ways of life. After Black people were enslaved, there was sharecropping. They really couldn't fully own land. There was always something holding them back, putting them down. After sharecropping, segregation, and Jim Crow. After that, after segregation was made illegal and legal discrimination was no longer, mass incarceration. Black people getting locked up disproportionately for nonviolent crimes. And this is awful. They go through, if To Kill a Mockingbird gives that generative idea of how that can happen. But that happens all the time. Courts favor non-Blacks. It's really easy.
And with most of the mass incarceration attacking the Black community and the voting rights being stripped for anyone who has been incarcerated before, I mean, that says it all. That affects the future for everyone.
Yeah, the right to vote. If you get locked up, you can get
lose
that
your
taken
voice.
away, disenfranchised.
Just like that.
And doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, these days it seems we can all get behind the common ideal that voting is sacred. Allowing your voice to be heard is sacred. So for Martin Luther King, it's not just about having a dream. It's not just about the sanitized version of equality, sort of the mainstream version. It's about white moderates. And although we're Jews, we pass as white. I pass as white.
Or most Jews pass as white, because we know that there are Jews of all colors.
I was saying you and me specifically.
Oh, yes, we are Jews that are white.
Yeah, we are Jews who definitely pass as white. But amongst the Jews, it's not all white. Far from it. And it might be kind of shocking to some who have never seen Black Jews, Asian Jews, Spanish Jews, Latin Jews, Chinese Jews. But for Blacks, that oppression lives with them. They go into a store, the clerk will look at them funny. I remember one time in Cambridge, I saw my Black friends walking ahead of me. Police car rolls up to them, starts talking to them. I wonder what's going on. But I'm so far back, there's no way I could be with that group of young Black men. And I hear jeering going back and forth from the police, starting with the police to the kids. What are you doing here? Hey, what's your business here? Do you live here? Where are you really from? And I walk over there, and it becomes clear that I'm friends with these dudes. The cops just drive away. They saw my white skin, they dipped. We must overcome this. And it's not just overcoming it in others, it's overcoming it within our midst. So, we'll leave you with that and a song.
Yeah, one last song. One last song to bring us up bring us up together in words of unity and hope for a future and shared opportunity and shared equality and growth for all.
To honor Martin Luther King, we will not stand idly by as others are oppressed.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe. Oh, we shall overcome someday. And when that day comes, we will live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe. Oh, we shall overcome someday. And we're not afraid today. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe. Oh, we shall overcome someday.
No sound. Got to remember to turn my sound back on.
Oh
Friends,
my.
oh my goodness,
Oh
I swear.
my.
I'll get it someday. Someday.
And so with that, I'm Rachel.
I'm Jake.
You've been watching Jakey Live.
Pleasure being with you here, folks. God willing, we'll meet each other again next week. I'm going to start that stream right at 8:30. I know which button to press now. And if I don't, you better believe I'll be hearing from my mother. She's the first one to call when I'm late. God bless, folks.